War. War never changes. In the year 1945, my great-great-grandfather, serving in the army, wondered when he'd get to go home to his wife and the son he'd never seen. He got his wish when the US ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world awaited Armageddon. Instead, something miraculous happened. We began to use atomic energy not as a weapon, but as a nearly limitless source of power. People enjoyed luxuries once thought the realm of science fiction. Domestic robots, fusion-powered cars, portable computers. But then, in the 21st century, people awoke from the American dream. Years of consumption led to shortages of every major resource. The entire world unraveled. Peace became a distant memory. It is now the year 2077. We stand on the brink of total war. And I am afraid. For myself, for my wife, for my infant son. Because if my time in the army taught me one thing, it's that war never changes.
Please contact your Vault-Tec maintenance representative for service.
Giant roaches? What the hell?
Hello and welcome to this epic climatic review with me, Richworth. And, well, as you can probably tell, I've had a go and I've bought Fallout 4. It's a lot of money, to be honest, but to be honest, I heard so much about it and had people going on about how good it is and, you know, how much like Skyrim. Basically what it is basically just Skyrim but post-apocalyptic. And since I was very bored, I just decided, you know what, hell with it, I'm going to buy a game. And it was Fallout 4. It was
nice.
Very cheap, to be honest.
Coming back later for you.
So here I am playing Fallout 4, and I'm beginning a new character for the channel. So here I am in the tutorial just to show you that I am starting a new character specifically for the channel. So if ever I decide to do anything recording-wise for this game, I'm going to be playing as Richworth. And probably getting my ass kicked most of the time. So, we're just going to start off nice and simple. Because the beginning is very story driven, I'm going to literally start with the story. The story is quite non-existent. As soon as you get to the Institute, the story ends. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but as soon as you get to the Institute, the story basically just jumps out the window. The whole quest, the main goal ends. Whereas with Skyrim, the main quest goes right, almost can go right the way through the game. It doesn't just end like that and there's no actual solution, there's no actual end to it. Yes, well done, you've got your item that you wanted after all. But there is no actual solution. Where's my solution? I want a solution. Whereas in Skyrim, you have killing Alduin. yes, many people don't really like it, it's very blah blah blah, but actually I do. It's just a easy way to wrap up the main story. But then, again, this thing has like several thousands of stories. I mean, weirdly enough, it reminds me of Westworld, the new TV program on wherever the hell it's on. Because of the amount of stories in this, you could go in one day and decide, you know what, hell with it, I'm going to go and see if I can find a new story. Just find a new story randomly. And voila, you find a new one. Like the flick of your finger. But the problem is, though, is that they're very few and far between. I've actually had to use a wiki to find where all the quests are. I mean, literally, they are so scarce in this game because there aren't very many settlements. Because, I mean, that's where you look for a quest, or the random encounters actually happen more frequently. So, I mean, I did one once where there was like 2 synths, and one was about to no, not 2 synths, 1 human, 1 synth. The human was about to kill the synth, and of course I'm going, okay, that's the only time I've come across
Vault door cycling
never seen it
sequence initiated.
before.
Please
So random encounters
stand
need to
back.
happen a bit more frequently. And the problem with the main story is it's too short, and then all the other quests, yeah, fair enough. Well, another thing I don't like is that the other factions you can join. Again, I'm going to compare it to Skyrim, but I think the reason why I'm comparing it to Skyrim is because I haven't played Fallout before. This is the first Fallout game I've played. So, to me, when I'm going to play, any Bethesda game, I would like some depth into the stories of each of the factions. Whereas in it, you've got 4 factions. You've got the Minutemen, the Brotherhood of Steel, the Institute, and the Railroad. Now, you have to be very careful about going into the Institute if you want to remain friends with the Railroad or the Brotherhood of Steel, because it's I mean, I accidentally accepted the first mission for the Institute, and then the Railroad said, nope, we don't want anything to do with you, fuck it. And then that's one set of storylines that I can't now do because it basically just ruins the experience. Brotherhood of Steel, again, if you do the Minutemen quests, you can't do the other stuff, so you can't discover that Paladin Danse was a synth after all. You can't do any of the Institute quests because you blow them up. Fuck, spoilers. So yeah, it's just, there isn't much to it story-wise, and I do kind of miss that, because that's why I want to buy the new Skyrim, because that has more story to it, because it actually envelops you into the world. Whereas this, it just annoys me, because there's not much to it. Because you can, befriend all your friends and, build them up to the point where they're idolising you, but then there's the point where you're going, I'm done. Okay. I mean, even the DLCs don't have that very many, quests. I mean, I've completed Nuka World, and I've only had it a week, this game a week. So that means I've got to level 30, beaten everything, even that Myla Queen in the bottling plant. I've got the XO1 mark, XO1 armor, and I've got the T45 armor, or whatever. It was T armor. I've got basically both kinds of armor in 2 seconds. So it's not really that much of a challenge. I mean, I even bought the new Automatron. Well, not the first DLC, the Automatron, just because I wanted a bit more stuff to do, and I finished it in 2 seconds. It doesn't take too long to complete. I like a game that takes long to complete. Anyway, getting away with myself. So that's the story. Gameplay-wise, it's refreshing, to be honest. It's a game that, has lots of stuff to do. Yes, I said that, stories don't have much quests, but the thing is that there is a lot to do. I mean,
he's gone.
I spent
God
like 5 hours building my house.
Someone stole my son.
It's worse than I
Sanctuary.
thought.
Just running around, dismantling everything and then building my house. I mean, at the moment, on my best account, I've got 2 buildings, one for my power armor, one for living in. And then also I've got my robot
Doesn't
workshop.
matter how long it's been.
That's just that.
I feel fine.
character interactions are actually quite nice, to be honest, because you've got four types of reaction that you can do. You can ask them a question, you can be quite snarky, you can be suck up, or you can be just polite. Yeah. I mean, and then of course there's multiple ways of leveling up. So I mean, your persuasions, your lockpicking, your hacking. There's a lot to be able to just. I mean, picking up a magazine allows you to level up. Okay, killing enemies, fair enough. But the problem is, another problem I have is that the NPCs are too powerful. Well, not too powerful. Actually, they can be beaten easily. But the problem is, though, is that when they're alive, they can take down some of the most big. You know, if I had Danse with me, or Codsworth, as I'm talking to right now, I wouldn't have too long to pretty much be able to beat any of them, because those two guys would be able to beat them to a pulp easily. But again, the improvement is that with other NPCs in other games, the NPCs in other games, they're invincible. So basically, no matter what, they're going to take a licking and they're going to keep on kicking. Whereas in this, if they beat down one of you, if they take away all their health, they don't die, fair enough, but they go down into a stuttered state, so they can't actually fight anymore. Which is an improvement to the Skyrim system, because if you lost Lydia and she had half your shit on her, then you're going to go, I've pretty much just lost all my best kit because it was on her. Also, another thing is that if you actually turn up the volume and listen to actually other stuff, you do feel sorry for the characters. So that's really just the gameplay. The VAT thing I use constantly. That's quite a cool feature. I do like the fact that they go back to their roots. Yes, I've done a bit of reading on Fallout, so I know that the VAT was one of the original ways of how you could actually hit your enemy, because it wasn't all first person once upon a time. Blah 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 blah. The enemies. I love the variety of enemies. I'm sorry I couldn't really. I was trying to actually do the first couple of missions, but what I've accidentally done is I accidentally deleted the footage of the first time I did this mission. I did the missions and I completely forgot to save the footage, and so I don't have the next quest after this one. So we don't see the death. But that's the thing. From flies, mosquitoes, to raiders, to robots, to death claws, so super mutants. It is a good mix of characters to go, a good mix of things to fight, because it keeps me entertained. And also, I did a bit of reading on the level scaling. So basically, so that little skill you can get where you can pacify enemies by just pointing your gun at them doesn't work on every single enemy, because they can scale. So it's just basically, there's so much to do in the game when you're not looking for quests, but otherwise, if you're looking for an actual things to do, Codsworth. So if you're aiming to get to level 100, fair enough, job done. That's why I like that. You just saw there. That's why I like VAT, because you can see the slow-mo kills and see what actually happens, whereas just shooting them and then you move to the next one.
Thanks for your help, Codsworth.
Good luck, sir.
So
you'll find young Sean. I know you will. I shall remain here and secure the
hang on a second. So yes, so you can have your own goals, but the thing is, I like to have a story goal. But anyway, getting away from myself again, so that's gameplay sorted. The visuals. Now, it depends on the TV you're using, I've noticed. Now, recently, I haven't been able to use it recently because it's busted right now. My little LCD piece of shit, which is now fried and blown up, didn't really, show a proper image. It didn't give me. It was like almost quite flat, almost. So it didn't really wow me as Skyrim did on PS3. I haven't got PS4. I am going to get it on PS4, and I will review it then. But anyway, getting away from myself again. I keep doing that. Where were we? Yes. So visuals. When I swapped to the HDMI TV, it looked a bit more sharper, a bit more clearer. It looked much more pretty, basically. So everything looked a bit more. Well, it's what you would get from a HDMI TV. So pretty much, if I'm going to say anything about recommendations about how to play this game, go go onto a proper HDMI TV. Don't use an LCD screen, just use a proper HDMI TV because it looks much cleaner and much nicer. Much better looking. Much nicer isn't a word. So another thing, right, I'm just going to go into a bit of a ramble here now, is the variety of things you can find on here. I mean, with Skyrim, you've got to go in, you've got to find certain items that will click in your head. So basically, for example, you're looking to make some orc armor, so you look for auriculum, or whatever it is. You want to make some quicksilver, find some malachite, or whatever. So you want to make something, find the specific metal that you've got to make. Whereas in this game, it is a complete scavenger hunt. So if you want to find something that will make whatever it is you want to make, so you want to make you want to reinforce your vault suit, which I wear on my main suit. So you want to reinforce that, so you've got to look for ballistic fiber, leather, adhesive. So you've got to look for duct tape, you've got to look for military bags, you've got to find... It's ridiculous what stuff you've got to look for, but you've got to find... Like, you could go in, you could find... Because, I mean, usually with games... A desk fan would be just a random item that would just, you wouldn't really, you'd look at it and you'd go, yeah, okay, it's a desk fan. That's it. I'll sell that at the shop. No, you have to actually dismantle it and find the screws, or the aluminium, or the plastic, or whatever you have to find. It goes into some serious depth. The weapons, my god. First time I wielded a Fat Man, I can't actually remember where it was, but I grabbed it and I jumped into a small little weapons locker, and I just wanted to see what would happen. It was completely, you know, off the head, and basically what I did was I fired it. Let's just say it didn't end well, obviously. So yeah, from Fat Mans and power armor, laser muskets and all that sort of stuff, it's all really cool stuff that you can make. You can make it like a baseball grenade. I mean, the baseball grenade is quite devastating, to be honest. You know, got a good throw as well, since the baseball. So yeah, there are loads of references in this game. I mean, I called my character Han at one point, and you know, loads of Star Wars references came out. It's actually quite cool. You know, loads of different stuff, armor mods. It can be completely weird sometimes. These armor mods, power armor mods, weapon mods, melee weapon mods. Favorite melee has to be the shish kebab, because that looks absolutely hilarious, like a flaming katana. You feel like a Jedi, but you're not. You know you're not a Jedi because it's a flaming sword, not a laser sword. So there's a major difference. But it's a katana with flaming stuff coming out of it. So what are you gonna do?
Our target is ArcJet systems, and it
Now,
contains the technology we need.
I like the feeling of choice this game gives you, because the simple fact is that when you go through, you come across certain missions. I mean, in a minute you're going to come across me going and finding this guy called Wolfgang at one of the Order Up quest, and basically what you got to do is you either kill Wolfgang and his group, or you kill the people inside the diner. But there is a third choice where you can actually broker peace between the two groups and no one gets killed and you can get both benefits. I do like the idea of being able to choose between, you know, no, I don't want any of your stuff, you are going, you're dead to me, blah blah blah. But when it comes to this game's, it's very varied, it's massive. I mean, customization gives you various options, sanctuary, settlement building, amazing. Character, so basically NPC talking to, again, that's quite cool because you can persuade people, you can pick locks, you can steal from people. Trust me, stealing from people is a lot harder than it is in Skyrim, because you can't put buckets on people's heads, because it doesn't work, because people kind of see you, so that doesn't work. Now, it's just, yeah, it's one of those things really. So, in the last 2 minutes, I'm going to wrap up. So, story, we can do. Hooray, today. We can also do the other stuffs like the gameplay and the visuals. So the usual stuff, really. So we don't have to do the excitement because there is a story mode today. Right, story mode stuff. The story of the game. I like the idea of it. I like the story. I like the way they set up the characters at the beginning. Well, the 3 characters at the beginning. So Sean, you, and your wife or husband, your spouse. And then I like the way they set up Codsworth, and then everybody else you meet along the way. You know, each character has their own story. Basically everyone has their own story. So I like that. It's enveloping. It brings you into the world. Lovely. But it's too short, in my opinion. It ends too quickly, and you know most of the stories don't really last that long anyway. So I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10. So you're going to see that on the left. Gameplay is massively varied. You can do pretty much anything you want, except for a few things. These, you know, surprising things really, but simple things. But hey ho. But you know, loads of monsters to fight, enemies to beat, missions to do, all that sort of thing. So that's a 8 out of 10. Got to wrap this up quickly, so we're going to go for visuals. When you got it on a HDMI TV, it looks absolutely amazing. On an LCD, it doesn't look so good, but it doesn't matter. It's really good anyway. The VAT system, or gameplay, VAT system is good, but visual stuff, I'm going to say, give it a solid 10 out of 10. See you next, no, not 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. See you next week for another video. Bye bye.